Ah, yeah, so that's more like a normal day in Berlin, not like yesterday's video where we had clear skies.
All right, this looks like a perfect time for a little mid-market trading recap. What I really want to be saying is if you guys have never had one of these wafers before, they are absolutely delicious. This is my first time having a coconut flavored one. Usually I like the lemon. Chocolate's pretty good too, but my roommate picked up a giant bag of these because they're on sale, and it's ridiculous because I have to eat them all, and it's really just not fair. So we snagged a pretty sweet little trade today with JAN. I'm not gonna lie, this trade was super sketchy, but the fact that I used a fairly small position size kind of calmed me down a little bit more. It was just kind of weird. I was always waiting for a big crack to the downside. It never happened. And then every pull was very weak. I'm gonna show you guys in a second on the charts what it looks like, but we did nail that one. Got out maybe a little bit early. Entry maybe could have been a little bit better, but ultimately we got to the meat of that bounce, and that's really what it's all about. Everything else today, markets are a little shaky, and I'm really just looking for a bunch of pullbacks, big support line bounce areas, and you know the drill with that stuff. Those trades, I actually had one more trade today, a little bounce, but it was a scratch. We got out basically right away. I got a few limit orders out there, just kind of waiting for things to pull back. But what I was really waiting for today and just, this whole week was some really nice gap and goers, and we just have not really seen them. And when I'm talking about gap and go, I have a whole video about this gap and go strategy, but basically I'm looking for something that's gapping up 20 to 50%. Sometimes, you see something gapping up 100%, which is cool too, but those usually pull back a little bit first. So, 20, 50, 60, 70, 80% gapping up really strong news. So it has a good catalyst. You want that as well. Between $2 and $7 with a small market cap about 50 million or below. And then obviously a small float as well. Ideally, 10, 20, 30 million float. Sometimes if you get those with like a 3 million float like we had today, those rip in all directions too. So that was really cool with JAN. And then I want to look for that big support underneath. So this thing's gapping up nicely, not too overextended. It's potentially a first big green day. And it has nice healthy support below it. Maybe it's pulling back to that support, or maybe just in general it reached a resistance level, broke out of it with strength, and now we have a nice former resistance, new support level right below us. So that's really what I'm looking for. And then the last thing of that equation, the gap and go equation, is just something that has a little bit of upside. So I've been seeing these stocks that maybe half of the criterion is there, right? There's maybe some support underneath or whatnot. There's a catalyst, but there's a massive 180-day moving average right above it. There's massive resistance right above it, and just 20, 30 cents away. So it's been a little tough with the gap and go strategy, but I know you never go more than a few days before you get some really nice ones. So I know we're gonna have some coming up eventually. And then hopefully by now we will be ready to trade them first thing in the morning. All right, guys, I got 4 tickers on my mind that I wanna talk about. So let's go to the charts. Also, welcome if you are new here. I saw some questions pop up in the live stream. Do I go live every morning to trade the market open? Yes, I do, as long as there's no holiday or something like that. Although for Martin Luther King Day, we are also streaming. I just, I had a free day in my schedule, so why not? If you want to see more live trading, you want to see trading recaps and a bunch of other trading related videos, some finance related videos, sometimes I switch it up a little bit. Definitely consider subscribing. I would love to have you join not just the channel, but also this $25,000 challenge we're currently on, where we're trying to grow a small account, $4,000 to $25,000. And like always, if you appreciate this content, don't forget to hit that like button. Alrighty, tidy. Welcome to the charts, guys. The first thing I want to talk about is, first I want to get myself out of the way, and then I want to be talking about JAN. This one, whack. I scanned the market around 7 a.m. There was basically nothing on the watch list. There's like 5 stocks, right? I scanned it again at 8, still, like another 3-4 stocks added to the scanner. And then it was like, I think it was at 9 o'clock. I scanned it one last time, like, come on, why is nothing moving? And then boom, JAN popped up on our scanner. This thing started moving pretty late. You can see here, 9 o'clock is is exactly when it started moving up, which is pretty late for gap and go. Had a nice move, 86%, ran all the way up to $6.45. So this was, looking really good at first. Market cap, 9 million, shares outstanding, 2 million, dollar volume so far, 33 million. Everything was looking good about this one. They have a catalyst as well. JAN1 announces manufacturing agreement in peripheral artery disease. Now, this thing's basically checking off many criteria already. And you can actually see it's kind of pulling back to where I want it to be pulling back right now. So who knows, maybe on this trade recap, we'll get a little live trade as well on JAN. The big problem though with this one is, check it out. It ran all the way to 645 where there was major resistance, and that made me a little bit cautious. Not to mention, check out their long-term chart. Every time the price reaches this $6 area, it gets entirely crushed, right? And it seems like it's been on a cycle where, the first big spike just gets crushed even harder and even harder and even harder. And that's kind of what happened today. So, this is the problem. We just didn't have that big upside potential on this one. So what I would have liked is, on the long-term chart, if maybe we broke to $7 or $8 and we pulled back to maybe $6, and then we know $6 is going to be big support. We have it right underneath this. This thing can really keep on going once the market opens, but we didn't really have that. And after the market opens, this thing pulled back super hard. It looks like everyone that ever wanted to go out, get out, that bought into early did, and it dipped 17% in the first 4 minutes. So this was really aggressive. And then it just had this constant selling off momentum right here, where it would dip down, bounce up, dip down, bounce up, dip down, bounce up. And when the bounces are weak, that was not the reversal. And also the crashes were all weak as well. So I was never really feeling too comfortable on any of these. I actually ended up deciding to buy it on the live stream though at 474 on this pullback, just because we had, I've noticed that, the selling pressure was getting a little bit weaker on all these cracks. And then I was like, okay, well, buying on a red candle might not be the worst idea. And on that red candle, we had a nice little increase in volume. I always like to look for an increase in volume when I'm buying. We had one bounce and then pull back again. And I was like, oh man, I got in too early. I almost sold. I even put a limit order out for a second, but then I removed it because, buyers came back in. But then we had this nice little run up here and I quickly got out. I think we made it roughly around 6-7% on this one, which isn't too bad. We just, again, we had a really small position size on it. Now it's pulling back again. And, I really like this a little above $4 as a price range. I think there's big support in this area. I wouldn't mind buying it again right now. But again, I'm really, being extra cautious on this one. It's been a little shaky. So let's see what happens. MYO quickly was the big whacker that everyone I felt like was watching today. And, we had two big days with this one. Well, actually just really one big day, and pulled back super hard. The second day, it was getting close to a doji candle actually before it closed on the day, but ended up pulling off a little bit more. Was looking really shaky. Big support came in here at 2.25, but I would be really careful about this one. And this is why on the live stream I didn't really want to trade this one, is because we had a double top here already. We're a bit overextended. This thing already ran up about, let me quickly see here, about 78%, and we're at a double top. There was a good chance that this thing was going to pull back first, so I didn't really want to get in it. Who knows how many people were just probably waiting to just jump on this thing with some shorts. I don't know. I did not want to play it. Even the bounce was just a little sketchy, 13%, and pulled back again. I must say though, I did try to trade this one. I was a little bit too conservative. I had my limit order at about 20.55 or something like that. So I missed this entry by like 5%, which is kind of unfortunate because this, in 2 candles, this thing bounced up 10%. Really nice bounce on that one. But again, we missed it, so whatever. One big takeaway though with MYO is the fact that it had this first red day, and when you have one of those first red days after a giant gap up, you just want to be a little bit cautious. You don't really know, if it lost momentum. There's no new news on it, so just if you're going to try to trade it, maybe it's better to wait for a pullback than getting, buying the opening bell and hoping that it's going to continue going into the market open, especially when it's a bit overextended pre-market. The next one I want to talk about, FAMI, 14 million market cap, 14 million shares outstanding. Again, exactly what we're looking for. This thing was the second one on our top watch list today. In our top 3 on our watch list today. Really nice gap up. This thing, 65%, maybe a little bit more, I'm not sure. pull back here to some really big long-term support. And then again, with the market open, this thing again pulled back to support and ran up right away, 17%. This could have been a good trade. We could have probably got this one. What may be a little bit on edge is if you just check out their long-term chart, there's not that much upside here because we have big resistance at 1.4. So, we have the 180-day moving average coming in. We have key support and resistance in this area at 1.4, which is right now currently resistance. So I don't know, you're kind of playing with fire on this one. And you can see I did try to buy this support. Again, we had this nice little double bottom and I got in a little bit too early, I think. You can see we had this, and I tried to buy this dip actually because we had a really nice double bottom here above really big support at $1. And this could have been a really nice trade. It was about a 6% pop to the upside. The only problem with this one is, I entered here. It was a pretty nice entry. And then we were kind of holding this area for a little bit, but we didn't get that quick pop to the upside. This is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for these two big candles. And then, a lot of sellers came in and they were eating up the bid at 105 or 106. And I was like, oh man, I really don't want to be part of this because if it drops, it could drop maybe 3, 4, 5% in, a few seconds. So I'm just going to get out of this one. I'm going to play it safe. And of course, right after I get out of this one, it goes up. That 6-7% in 2 minutes. I did make a small profit, but it was really more of a scratch. And then I tried to trade this one again, actually, right around here. I had a limit order at 0.92. So we went down to 0.93. Of course, this thing ends up bouncing 6%. Whatever, we missed it again. I still have my order at 0.92. I haven't yet to move it again, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to leave that limit order much longer because this was kind of the trade I wanted and, we didn't get it. One thing also to consider is, they have increase in January sales, which is really, really nice. It's a great catalyst. But at the same time, pharma receives NASDAQ notification indicating it's not compliance with the minimum bid price rule. So basically, if you're listed on the NASDAQ and you dip below $1, you're going to get a notification or an alert from the NASDAQ saying you got to get your price up or else you're going to get delisted. You're going to go to the OTC markets, and that is a stock graveyard. So a company will start doing some shady stuff, maybe hiring promoters and whatnot to raise that stock price or do some reverse splits. Usually a notification like that is kind of the beginning of an end. Can lead to some great trading opportunities, but just keep in mind that it is not a very bullish news. And then really quickly, let's just talk about GHSI. This thing, 24 million market cap, 74 million shares outstanding. Really nice gap up here, about 50%. And they had news here announcing development of unique supportive complex targeting upper respiratory tract infection. So, good news there. Everything sounds really nice. There was a really good support line bounce on this one, but we missed that. I don't know what I was doing. But yeah, this could have been a good trade. This was a former runner, probably a lot of back holders on it, pretty rough long-term chart. But, this one definitely had some potential. But again, pre-market, it would have been much nicer if this thing went well above 0.4, maybe all the way to, 0.45 or something like that, pulled back, found some big support at 4, and then continued running for the rest of the day. But right now it's kind of stuck in this resistance area and then lower end support. Just not really the best trade. And, also it's not really moving that much. So this perfect, entry and exit would have only been 6%. So not really the best trade either. We're looking for those moves that are 10, 20, 30, 40%, and then just getting a chunk of that. That's what we're looking for. So GHSI, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't have any limit orders on it at all, but it was a really nice one to watch. All right, guys, I think that wraps up everything I want to talk about in this trading recap video. I hope you guys found value in it. I'm watching JAN right now, and it looks like it's pulling back a little bit. Maybe we'll get a trade still today. Maybe we won't. Who knows? No matter what happens, it doesn't really matter. That is the mindset you want to have. All right, guys, until next time then, stay safe, and like always, make some awesome trades. And remember, guys, always hit that like button. Till next time, ciao, ciao.